going on here today with all these vehicles and the actual trail and all. I think they were trying to get homeless people out of there. All those garbage trucks and the police officers and stuff like that, I think anyways. Fast-moving vehicle on a public trail here. I don't know, just with all that stuff you read about the news, just whatever it may be, like with drones and stuff like that, it makes you think like, here, how do people ever live with stuff like that? Although this one here, it says it was a near miss report with a drone and a plane, according to this. It says, private jet comes within 10 feet of hitting drone mid-air in UK's joint closest near miss. The Bombardier Global 6000 aircraft was flying onto Luton Airport when it almost hit the drone at 4,000 feet, a report reveals. The incident was classed Category A, meaning a serious risk of collision existed. The Bombardier Global 6000 aircraft was flying into Luton Airport when it almost hit the device at 4,000 feet, a report by the UK Airprox Board said. The jet's pilot reported seeing the drone, which was black and appeared to have some sort of light source at the front, according to the report. The person also says the size was difficult to judge, but at best estimates, it was 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, the UK Airprox Board said. It was estimated to pass within 10 feet of the aircraft. An inspection after landing did not find any evidence of a strike. It is believed the near miss on 26th of August is the joint closest ever recorded in UK airspace. And it said it was unable to determine whether the unknown object was a drone because of the reported altitude and its description. So it's one of those things where I guess all the titles and stuff are gonna say pretty much like, you know, drone, whereas this one, it says in the actual report, they're not really sure ultimately. What could it be in that sense with that size and everything too? Added, the board considered that the pilot's overall account of the incident portrayed a situation where providence had played a major part in the incident and or definite risk of collision had existed. It is not known who was on board the private jet at the time of the incident. And of course, when you read stories like this, it'll compound with other things. It says, earlier this year, it was revealed a drone came within 65 feet of hitting a jumbo jet as it flew into Heathrow Airport. And with that, they talk about things like the new registration process and stuff over there, where you need to take things like the online theory test and paying your fee. So the question again, was it a drone or was it not? Again, I'm just trying to think, what else could it potentially be with that size and everything like that they actually reported? It just makes me think with stories like this, and again, just seeing that vehicle basically just go by here on the trail. If this was done like say a couple of decades way before when things like cars and stuff were just starting, how freaked out would someone have been like to see this scenario right now that just happened to be here? And then I read this story that was actually really fascinating because it makes me think of like right now with things like say drones and stuff like that. Often people say, hey, I see this sign, it says no flying drones and all that, yet some people, they say they read the laws and it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. So which one do you believe, like the actual signs or what is actually written in the law? So this one here, it says, Douglas Todd, British Columbians fight US billionaire for the right to roam in the wild. So to my understanding, it relates to, I guess, somebody putting up signs and stuff to stop people from driving through this property, which has access to what should be, to my understanding, public lakes and all that. It says, no trespassing and private property signs in Canada, despite being posted almost everywhere, are often not worth the plastic, wood, or metal they're printed on. When most Canadians come across no trespassing signs, they stop in their tracks and they turn around, often in disappointment. But not everyone gives up. A few enter into decades-long battles like the one against BC Giants Douglas Lake Cattle Company, owned by one of America's richest people, Stan Kroenke. And the lesson these diehards have been able to pass on is that no trespassing and private property signs in Canada, despite being posted almost everywhere, are often not worth the plastic, wood, or metal they're printed on. Saying, quote, most of the no trespassing signs you see in BC are illegal, says Ryan McGowan, as we travel over a gnarled, grassy track on the magnificent Douglas Lake Ranch. This is not just any path, however. McGowan and his allies in the Nicola Valley Fish and Game Club have shown in court it is a public right-of-way even though it crosses the billionaire's property. The track leads to peaceful Stony Lake, one of the dozens of public bodies of water in the Nicola Valley region that locals, including indigenous people, were able to fish on not long ago. but which have since been blockaded off by the landowners. BC Supreme Court Justice Joel Groves has ruled, however, that the American billionaire and his hired hands can no longer keep Stony or nearby Mini Lake, which are Crown properties, behind locked gates and no trespassing signs. The Nicola Valley Club's case against the Douglas Lake Cattle Company is a boon to Canadians who love the outdoors and seek rightful access to wild places. And I guess for the McGowan person, it says he spent much of his career with the BC Highways Ministry mapping every meter of every road and the right-of-way through the stunning rolling hills southeast of Merritt. Saying, quote, "I've surveyed every road in the district and I knew they were being locked illegally," says McGowan, whose unique expertise is part of the reason Justice Grove called him an impressive witness and took him so seriously as an impartial public interest litigant. To put it another way, McGowan and his comrades are not in this for the money. Yet McGowan has been arrested 3 times by the local RCMP, though never convicted. The judge criticized the police for their insidious collaboration with Chronique's ranch staff. BC government bureaucrats and politicians were also bitten by the judge's rebukes. Holy cow, I admire that kind of, I guess you could say, commitment, so to speak, to do what's right regardless, because in this case you're going against almost everything. The money, the authorities are essentially siding with the people with the money and all that. Yet in the end, I guess you could say this guy was victorious and it's better for everyone in general. Just think about this too. Like in this case, I'm not an expert personally, like when it comes to trails and stuff like that. So if I see like a sign like that, I'd have the same reaction. Like they said, I'd be like, okay, well, unfortunately, I guess I can't be here. Whereas these guys, they clearly understood like what the rules are. And imagine if they just unfortunately passed away or something like that. Who else would have actually brought this up to light? It would have just kept continuing, correct? So again, like I personally admire when people do stuff like that. Kind of makes you think even with other things, will this happen with things like the sky and the airspace? Just in terms of things like flying the drones and stuff, where realistically you should have access to it, like in a free way in various places, but there will be people that say, hey, no, like I hate these, whatever, like drones and stuff like that, so I'm gonna put this sign out there. Darn rain, you're not letting me fly the drone. That's the worst enemy actually. I can fly the drone, not regulations and all, the weather. Oh, I guess it's time for the archive. Alright, see you guys later.